just interviewed by Keith Andrew, and it was just such a wonderful experience. He's such a wonderful person, and Keith is just doing such amazing things, connecting with people at a time where we all really need it. So please check it out and check out everything he's doing. Keith, you're awesome. Thank you for having me.
Host Keith Andrew, and you're watching the Keith Andrew Network. Today, it's episode 750. That's right, 750. I'm here with the beautiful and talented Pamela Evans. I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my show. It's an honor and privilege, and I'm looking forward to building a friendship with you.
Thank you so much for having me, first of all. And also, congratulations on your 750th episode. That's pretty amazing. That's like really, really amazing. So I'm looking forward to it, and you're just wonderful. Thank you.
No, likewise. You know, if you really want to drive me up a wall, officially it's 750. Unofficially, I did a number 300. So if you really want to do the math, it's somewhere in the thousands. But I don't know. I guess I should have kept the. I just had an edge. I guess I should have kept the episodes, but it's a long story about that. So pretty much I took everything down. I did it over from scratch, and thanks to you, we're up to 750. We're on the road to 800. Like I said, PG-13. Say anything you want. Talk about anything you want. Freedom of speech, self-expression. And for people who want to know who the beautiful Pamela Evans is, you are a upcoming professional singer and artist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm a singer, a songwriter, and also an actress. So I kind of do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Been doing it for a long time. I love it. My married name is Pamela Evans, and then for music, I go by Pamela Rose Rodriguez, just because that's been my name forever. So I I got married and I got the same name as my husband, but for acting and for music, I still use my maiden name.
Well, congrats to number one, and your husband's a lucky guy.
Thank you. He's the best. Hopefully you'll get to meet him one day.
Oh, absolutely. Now, the first question I want to ask you is tell us, well, you can ask me anything you want, but the first one I want to ask is tell our audience a little bit about your background and how you came to do what you do now.
Oh, okay. So, I think, music is something that I just have always wanted to do. I always tell the story, like I had a cousin who was a singer and I was younger and she lived with us, and I would just I was in awe of her when she would sing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I really hope I can do that, because that is like the coolest thing ever. And, years went by, I practiced, I took lessons and found out that I could, which I was so happy because I really wanted to. And, I've really been singing ever since. And then in college, I studied acting and music. And that's just really all I've ever done my whole life. And thankfully, that's my career. But it was just something that I was just like, I really hope I can do this, and was so grateful that I could, because I love it so much.
No, absolutely. I was looking on your Instagram. I didn't see that you mentioned actress. So This is professional singer. So that kind of threw me off. But it's a good thing you mentioned that too, because you are beautiful and you have the looks to be. And don't mind me, I'm an ass kisser. But you have the looks to be a professional actress, model, singer. So it's
Thank you.
A triple threat.
Yay, thank you. Yeah, and on my Instagram, I really do just kind of promote my music stuff, since the acting it's like it's whole other world, where it's kind of hard to promote yourself as an actress on Instagram unless you're making like short films and all these things. But yeah, so I do both, but on social media, you'll see mostly my music.
No, absolutely. And to be honest, I happen to meet actors, actresses, models, CEOs, and I'm like, okay, at first I started off as voiceover people, then actors. Like, I really want to have CEOs on here, but how can I ask the questions like, okay, it's the same exact list of everyone I ever asked. I just changed the first title. For an example, I was thinking about having singers on the show. I'm like, okay, well, these are
Mhm.
mostly questions you would ask an actor. Why not scratch actor off and put singer? Like, oh, that's a great idea. Now, how can I do that with CEOs? Same exact thing. Scratch it off. Put CEO. So it's pretty much, if you think outside the box, you can accomplish anything. Like if you
Yeah.
start to think hard enough, you probably, in my case, I hurt myself.
I think me too. So no, you're not alone. But yeah, no, it's so interesting what you said, because really like that question of, how did you start really applies to all different things. I actually wanted to ask you how you started. What was the inspiration behind what you do? Because it's so cool, and how you are, connecting with so many people all over.
No, absolutely. There's a lot of different variation stories. I'm trying to knock it down to my top three. I use my dad for an inspiration. He's a famous teacher in New York City. He met so many great people. We can get to that in a little bit. I started with a birthday wish. That was the main purpose. And I just got tired of using my disability as a crutch, saying, I can't do this, I can't do that. How can I get my birthday list? And also, you stop using my disability as saying, it's hindering you. You're making excuses. How can I use it as a strength? So I said, you know what? Let's kill, I hate the expression, kill two birds with one stone and just turn
Mhm.
into one whole big thing. And
Mhm.
that's what I've been doing for the past 7.5 years.
That's it. That's so inspiring. That really is. That's such a really beautiful story. Because
You
I
know,
think so many of us do that, right? I was having a conversation with someone recently. Like it's so, all of us have these things that we could let hold us back, but they end up being, if we allow them to, like our strength, and you end up inspiring all these people that, maybe were holding themselves back.
I agree. Now, the next question I want to ask you, I want you to start from the very beginning because you mentioned you were a singer, actress. Yeah, singer, actress, and I forgot the and model. Well, what was, sorry, brain fart.
Oh no, a
What,
singer songwriter.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, you could be a model if you want to.
Oh, thank you. Sometimes I just think I'm so awkward. I feel like whenever I'm taking pictures, I'm like, but thank you so much for saying that.
But the first one I want to ask you is, going to social media. That's our first subject, social media.
Mhm.
Can it make you or break you with everything that you accomplish in your life? Do you think your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, do these dictate if people should give you that golden opportunity? And what was the very first thing? Like, was there a show you saw, or say, or a singer you happen to see? You mentioned off the air, you told me all about it. About what was that very first moment that said, you know what, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
Yeah. Oh, those are good questions. Well, so when I started, there was no social media. So I was like, I can't wait to have a CD, which CDs are kind of still a thing, but not really anymore. So, my cousin was a big inspiration for me, but I think I spent a lot of time as a kid just watching TV and watching music videos, and they were, I don't know if you hear my dog barking, I'm so sorry. um, I watched a lot of music videos and shows that I really feel like kind of kept me company. um, and I was like, I loved the creativity and the expression and the music. It was something that for me, I always said like helped me to not feel so alone, and make it was just something that I felt like um, it was like an escape, but it was like a good one. And so it was something that I always just hoped that I could do or be a part of. And then I always tell this funny story about when I was in the second grade, we had a Thanksgiving play, and I really wanted to play the turkey, which was the lead. And I was like, I did not get cast as the turkey. I got cast as like one of three pumpkins. But I remember thinking like, I want to be the turkey, but I'm going to be the best pumpkin they've ever seen. And I gave my whole heart. I, to this day, still remember the song we had to sing. And then I thought about it. And I was like, I cared so much about this, just the storytelling of it all, right? So I was like, I'm going to be this pumpkin. And then throughout my life, every time I would audition for a show, like even in my teenage years, I almost would never get the part that I wanted. I would always want like the lead and I would get the side. And what I learned in that was like that I really just love doing this thing. It wasn't because I wanted to be the star, even though I always thought that part was really cool, but I would end up having more fun playing these other characters. Like Romeo and Juliet, I wanted to play Juliet, and I got cast as Balthazar. And if anybody knows the play, that's Romeo's best friend. And I had so much fun. I got to sword fight and do all these things. And so the long story is to say that growing up, I just loved doing it so much that even if I didn't get the starring role, that I just was so happy to be a part of it, to be part of a cast and a crew and tell these stories and to make music and to do all these things, that it just showed me in my heart that I just love being creative and telling stories, that I wanted to do it for the rest of my life, no matter what it looked like. It's not about like the fame of it. It's about like the friendships and the creativity, if that makes sense. It's kind of a long-winded answer, but
No, absolutely. You know, it's funny. You mentioned about the play, but it's the giant turkey. And the first thing that popped in my head was, you saw, and I know it sounds like an oxymoron, you saw Anna's Family, right?
yeah.
So at the part where Pugsy comes out, it's like, I'm a turkey, kill me. And I was just looking at your earrings. And they're really nice earrings, by the way. But go ahead.
No, I was just saying thank you.
It reminds me of the scene. Did you ever see The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
My favorite show of all time.
I love Uncle Phil. He was one of my favorites. There's an episode where Aunt Viv says to the cop where Will gets arrested because they thought he was robbing, stealing a car. And the guy says, sir, can you tell your wife to sit down? We're really busy. He's like, oh, we're about to get really busy to take
Yeah. We're about to, yeah. Is that the episode where they're in jail with the guy and they start singing "Let My People Go"?
To be honest,
and he's like, "It's amazing."
I'm not really sure. I just know his. They find out about their warriors, and it's like, oh, I'm his partner, and my favorite line is, "We're gonna tie this place up with so much litigation that your grandkids are gonna need warriors."
I remember that episode so clearly. Yeah, I love that. That really is like my favorite TV show of all time.
No, absolutely. Now, the next question I want to ask you is, what were some of your biggest expectations of being an actress? But let me ask you in a different way. Is your goal is to be the greatest actress ever, or is it mostly be a professional singer? What's more important to you?
Okay, that one has always been like a tricky one for me, because I do love them both so much. But I always say, like, if I was forced to pick one, it's always going to be music for me, because that's just such a big part of my heart. But acting is just holds such a special place in my heart too. So I'm grateful that I can do both. But if I had to pick, I would pick music. But hopefully I never have to pick.
No, absolutely. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to ask you two hard-hitting questions, and then I'm going to pass the show over to you.
Check. I'm Julie Brothers.
Jenna Curtis.
I'm Jenny Fine.
Hi, it's Mimi Chen.
Hi, my name is Ella George.
I'm Shauna Toth.
Hey guys, I'm Anastasia Everett.
Hi, this is Jackie Nunez.
Becky Days.
Hi, I'm Lily Rose.
There, I'm Saki Mieta.
Hey guys, I'm Alexandria Denise, and you're watching Keith Andrews' show. He's doing a terrific job. Make sure you like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more awesomeness.
We just came back from a commercial break. We have a special live performance from the beautiful Pamela. She's going to share a brand new song that she just created. And don't worry, it's not copyrighted, so I don't have to have YouTube go crazy. But the last question I want to ask you is, how do you deal with being stereotyped? And have you ever, for an example, been in that situation? Now, give me an example, not to put you on the spot or anything. For an example, people say, oh, Keith, you say you have a learning disability. You say you read and learn at a 5th grade level. You're on the spectrum or being retarded. But yet there isn't anyone out there who, for as far as I know of anyway, who says all that and has a talk show. So for me, that's my way of saying, well, yes, I learn at a slow level, at a middle school, 5th grade level, but I'm showing you that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. It's a prove that you can still amount to something. Now, asking you the same question, with everything that you accomplish in your life, have you ever been in that type of situation?
Yeah, I think for me, really in acting more than anything else. So my background, I'm a Latina. So my mom is from Dominican Republic. My dad is from Cuba. And for a long time, and I think a lot of people have been breaking these stereotypes. It's like the Latina can only play the maid or like the mistress or, very stereotypical like roles. And I think that there was a time where those were the only roles that were not the only roles that were available, but maybe people couldn't see you beyond that. And I think people have just been breaking those barriers and writing scripts and, films and shows and plays where you find all different types of roles for Latinas. I can use the example too, even, my hair is kind of blonde right now and my hair was darker before. And I was told by, some of my management, they're like, well, you can't dye your hair blonde because, you're not going to get cast in Latina roles. And I'm like, but wait, I'm Latina. Like I speak Spanish. My hair color or my look shouldn't necessarily define how people see me. It's just who's the best person for the job. And so I kind of dyed my hair blonde to be a little bit rebellious against that. Because I was like, well, and then I ended up getting cast in some really beautiful roles, playing a mom and parts that maybe people were like, well, if you do that, I don't know if you will. And so it just goes to show, and I think I'd love to know what you think about this, that when you just are yourself, that people are drawn to that and you break barriers sometimes without even trying to by just being yourself. Would you agree with that?
No, I agree with you. It's funny. I had a doctor's appointment today and I told her, I actually, in my free time, am a talk show host. And she is the only second person that don't mind me. I'm trying to hide my fat neck. My brother likes to teach me to have a fat neck. But she is the second person to say to me, you have this not image, I know that sounds like overplayed. You have this thing about you that you project that you can accomplish so much. I guess she was trying not to blow smoke up my butt. But it's like you have this persona of saying there's so much to you that you can't accomplish. And I said, that's funny because you're not the first person to say that. When I used to work over at Walmart, I used to talk to customers all the time. Some of them liked it. Some of them was like, hey, dude, shut up and just ring me up. There's people that say to me, I can see that about you, that you like talking. You're very personable. You like getting to know that person and you're outspoken. And I'm like, well, I am a talk show host. Well, if you are, why are you here ringing people up? I think you're in the wrong type of work. And I'm like, well, I like to be humble. Yes, I do want to be famous. And that's the next question I want to ask you. Pass it over to you. If I become famous, I made a promise to myself a long time ago. I would never change who I am. I'm going to cut myself in half, 50-50, have my one foot in a reality and say, this is what I have to do every day. And the other side is I'm going to enjoy the entertainment world, But I'm not going to think, well, I'm a big star now and I don't have to work in retail. Even if I'm a big star, yes, I am going to work in retail because I want to do something on an everyday basis. I want to feel like the same person who I am. The problem is people have their heads way up their asses and think just because they have billions of dollars, they can thumb your nose down on them. And the truth is, we all start from the same way. I'm not better than you. You're not better than me. We all start from the bottom. And a wise man once said, kind of, I think without hurting myself, a wise man once said, be nice and respectful to those who you meet going up. Because when you come back down, you're going to run into the same exact people. So don't burn any bridges.
Yeah, that's so smart. Yeah.
Well, passing it over to you. I know you want to do a special live performance, but how do you feel? Do you feel the same exact way?
Yeah, I mean, it's so true what you say about it's just about being kind to people and not losing sight of who you are. It's like, just listening to what you're saying about your story. It's like you care about people, you love connecting with people and talking and sharing and also listening. And I don't think you'll ever lose that, because that's just such a part of who you are. And so, but having the awareness that, like, let me not let myself get so far that I lose the heart of who I am. I think for my husband and I actually shot a video yesterday, and it was talking about if there's like 36, it's this thing that's like after you ask a stranger 36 questions to see by the end if you fall in love, but we're doing it as a married couple. And the second question is, do you want to be famous? And we both said, like, we're both entertainers and we've always just loved creating art and music and plays and theater and film and all that. And we love the people aspect of it, like working with other people, entertaining people, because we're in an industry, with you are too, it doesn't work without people. Like, we can't like build a house and be done with it. We need people. So it's like you want to reach a lot of people. I want a lot of people to hear my music. I want them to love it. I hope that it helps them to feel the way that I felt with music, which was not alone and understood. But I never want it to be in a way where I'm like, oh my gosh, you love my song. I'm just like, there's never a moment that I'm not grateful for somebody listening to my song or complimenting something that I've done. Because it just means that, the heart and the time that I put into it, it's coming across well. So I think the fame aspect of it is not it's tricky, right? Because if a lot of people know and see you and know you, that means you're doing a good job in essence. Hopefully it's good, from a good side of it. But it's never been so that people like tell me how amazing it is. It's just because I feel like this music that I have, I want to share it with so many people. So I'm with you in the sense I don't ever want to lose sight of why I do it, which is for people.
No, absolutely. Now we have about 3 minutes and counting. I'm going to pass it over to you. The first one I want to ask you while you get set up on your keyboard, how can people follow you on social media?
Yes. Okay. So pretty much everywhere you'll find me as Pamela Rose Music. So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that, Pamela Rose Music. Also, I have a website, pamelarosemusic.com. And that's where you could find everything. I just released a song called All the Pretty Colors, and I have some more stuff coming out. I'm not going to play the whole thing because I know we don't have that much time and I want to be able to say bye to you and all these things, but I'm going to play you a little piece of All the Pretty Colors.
If I may, let's end in first, and we can end the show with you playing the piano.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So wrapping up on the talk show, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what made you say yes, and how do you feel now?
I love your story and your heart, like just your immediately. Of course, I watched your videos as you reached out to me, and I watched what you were doing, and I was like, first of all, he's so cool. I love the way that you talk to people. I love just how engaged you are in people and the conversation, and also just what an inspiration you are. You're so open about your story, and it's so uniquely yours. And you've inspired me to be like, don't let things that you think would limit you hold you back from anything. So it was really just you and who you are and what you're doing. I was just like really excited to meet you and to just kind of share, because I love that you said like it's an interview, but it's more conversation because I want to know about you too. So and I feel just so happy that I did it and I met you, and I'm just excited for everything that you're doing.
No, absolutely. And now it's the remaining time. It's you can pass it over to you.
Okay, I'm not the greatest piano player, but can you hear this over here? Let me see. Yeah? Okay, here we go. Ooh, love, love, love comes in all the pretty colors. Ooh, the beauty of a rose is in the blooming thorn. Everyone is born without fear and cold. Love is full of freedom. Oh, it feels a heavy weight creeping on that TKO. We're trying to raise the stakes, keep forgetting what we know. Oh, and love, love, love comes in all the pretty colors. Ooh, love, love, love. What can we discover when we learn to love each other? A broken heart, yeah, it'll make you run for cover.